that what we've done is did a small post on the Businesses Against Vax in Ontario, and which has grown to probably over 115,000 members. So, you know, generally entrepreneurs and people that love Ontario and Canada specifically, and are looking at some other options because some of the changes happening politically in the country, and also with regards to the vaccination thing. So I'll deal with that a little bit later in the presentation. But I've been to Costa Rica quite a few times. I've traveled there. I know the location quite well. I've been there for 5 years, and some of the team that I've got representing on this call have either been there or have interests there, and I'll introduce the rest of the group near the back end of this presentation. But I'm going to talk about a lot of things, so it's not very specific. But it's where you can purchase, rent, or visit. This is by a company that was recently established in Costa Rica called Nakori Experiences. Nakori is a Japanese word for relax. So we're about generating and creating relaxing opportunities for each and every one of you. And the website is being put together as we speak, so you'll have that a little bit later. But specifically to this group, we're going to be dealing with buying, renting, and visiting. So as we go to the next slide, I want to tell you the areas that I want to focus on in Costa Rica. Number one, Tamarindo, which is in Guanacaste province, and you can see it up to the left there. Santa Teresa, which is in the southern Nicoya Peninsula, and in a beautiful spot just in the south part, kind of the middle central area of Costa Rica. And of course, San Jose, the major city of Costa Rica. And that's where most of the flights come in and where the most of the commerce is. It's a large city of almost 2 million people. All of Costa Rica is about 4 to 5 million people. So although there is a huge opportunity for growth there, it's still a smaller center, generally speaking. All right, now Nakori is involved in these 3 specific areas, but not just these specific areas. And I want to talk a little bit about all those spots and give you a bit of an understanding of what they are, what they can do, and what the pricing is, and what the experiences might be like there. I have to liken Costa Rica as a whole to Hawaii was 30 years ago. It's got a huge opportunity. It's got a very politically stable country. Lots of interesting things starting to happen there. You got a very strong educated population. There's low crime, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but a fantastic place to visit. So if I look at the overall tourism flow from Canada specifically, my mom and dad, probably people that are above 40, even 50, would have 40 or 50 would have traveled to Florida for the most part, and still do. But the next generation has moved a little bit more to a Mexico travel destination and got burnt down there at one of the resorts and had an all-you-can-eat buffet kind of model. That's still quite popular, but the younger generation is looking for adventure. They're looking for organic food. They're looking at healthy places to go and be part of. They want an experience. That's why we call it Nakori Experiences. They don't just want to stay at a resort. They want to experience more of the country, understand everything from the culture, the food, all of that kind of thing. And you really have that in Costa Rica, in a very stable, healthy place with beautiful climate for the most part. So we're going to talk about those 3 areas as I mentioned before, but buying new in Tamarindo. So I'm specifically involved with my partners in developing brand new homes that are detached in Tamarindo, about 7 minutes from the beach. They're starting at $289 USD, and there's an opportunity to buy into that program, even invest in that program that we're doing. The other area that I'm very fond of is Santa Teresa. In that little picture, you see a view from a pool view of a place I stayed at overlooking the Santa Teresa area. So you have, that's the Pacific Ocean there, right there on the screen, right in here. And that's a view, that's a carpeted, beautiful green, organic growth and jungle growth coming down from the mountains, which are about 1,500 feet. coming straight down the Pacific Ocean, and just a beautiful, vibey surf town, probably internationally known for surfing. Lots of ATVs, bikes flying around, a little bit of gravel road, a little bit of paved road. It's got that organic feel, but great international food that comes in from people from all over the world: Israel, Switzerland, France, Canada, US, all kinds of places that have opened up beautiful shops there. So you can either get a long-term rental in Santa Teresa, or you can just visit, and that's another spot that we're looking at putting together as part of our Nakori Hotels group, is this beautiful boutique hotel that we're looking at putting together. It's not there yet, but we're looking at putting that together. The other area is San Jose. We can do long-term luxury rentals starting at $2,600 in that area. Really beautiful spot. I know that sounds like a little bit higher, but it's in a beautiful area called Santa Ana, and there's 10 condominiums available there. Lots of spots to visit in Santa Teresa, and also for that matter in Tamarindo. But those are areas that I have specific interest and influence in. I just want to show you what the beaches look like. So this is Tamarindo. This is what the beach looks like. They're not like this in all parts of Costa Rica, but on the Pacific coast, you tend to have a large beach area that comes up. Usually it's a crescent beach and it's surrounded by mountains, and you have a long wash that comes up on the beach, and it's beautiful. Just gorgeous beaches with lots of greenery. These are detached villas, a little snapshot of the back. They're not fully designed and architected yet, but we're very close to getting to the final places. These are detached villas in a gated community. So there's going to be 62 homes there. They're going to start at $289 US. They're starting to build them right now. They'll be finished by later next year. And some of the homes may be finished earlier than that, but beautiful, beautifully put together Costa Rican design that's very open and airy, really brings the influence of Costa Rica into the homes, where you can have airy breezeways, beautiful pools in the back, and so on and so forth. This is what the front of the home will look like. Similar to this, they run from about 800 square feet up to approximately 1,400 square feet for a 2-story home. And they're available now to begin to look at some of those floor plans, or if not now, very shortly. So something, if you're interested in, you could post a note in the presentation, and we'll be happy to follow up. The other thing is, and this is all about Tamarindo. So in Tamarindo, you got beautiful boutique hotel rentals. I stayed at this particular one called Jardin. It's about $240 a night. And that's just more in the regular season. Obviously, high season, it's more money. We got beautiful restaurants, really good food. In fact, the food at that restaurant is, look, this is organic farm to table food that is represented there. This is a lunch meal I had, so it was all vegetables and that kind of thing with a little bit of quinoa. So lots of good food and places to eat in Tamarindo, just like Santa Teresa. You got to remember, Tamarindo is up in this area right up here in the very top area. Tends to be a drier climate. It's in Guanacaste, a little bit drier. They have a wet season right now, so it's quite green from about June through till end of October. But then it does dry up, very arid like California, where Santa Teresa and San Jose tend to be a bit more geared to, those two areas are a little bit more a wetter climate and tend to be a little greener. So it's quite a few different microclimates in the area. Tamarindo has beautiful beach restaurants and shows that they have at night. If you want to enjoy some fun stuff, kind of look around. They have a bit more of a nightlife than they would in, say, Santa Teresa. A bit more of a town setting, which is Santa Teresa is more organic-y and so on. So that's that. I think somebody's just joined in. If you have, you can just mute yourself. That would be great. Thank you. And lots of adventure and sport in Tamarindo. So all kinds of things to do, from waterfalls that look like this, like beautiful waterfalls, to gorgeous places to do different sporting things, swimming, biking, surfing, boarding, all those sorts of things. One of the things that I found unique about Tamarindo and some of the beaches on the Pacific coast especially from Tamarindo going south, or actually Playa Flamingo going south, is this thing called a crescent beach. So that you can see the beach is round, it goes all the way around. You got a beautiful beach that tends to be, I don't know, 5 kilometers or so. And there's beaches like this all the way along the coast, but they go crescent beach, and at the very top of the beach, or the opening here, which you can't see in the picture, typically they have coral reefs in there, so they have a lot of diving, and it breaks up the waves a bit. So in Tamarindo, the waves aren't as big, but you can still surf there. In Santa Teresa, there is no break wall, there's no coral reef blocking that area, so you get a lot more bigger waves coming in and great surfing. In fact, it's international surfing. But certainly you can do some surfing in Tamarindo. One of the advantages of Tamarindo is it's quite a developed beach there. There's a lot of convenient services and restaurants and places to eat and shop and do those sorts of things. And it's very close to the airport. You can pick up a rental vehicle, go from Tamarindo to Liberia, from Liberia Airport to Tamarindo is 1 hour and 15 minutes on a beautiful paved road the whole way. So you've got really great accessibility. You can catch flights from Toronto. During season, there's about 12 to 14 flights per day coming out of Toronto. Many of those are direct flights going straight to either Liberia or San Jose Airport. So one of the things that I discovered down there is real estate follows surfing, and Tamarindo Beach is known for its surfing. It's got that. So you're finding the same thing in Santa Teresa. The price of real estate goes up. So if you're away from that beach and you're away from that, it tends to be a little bit lower. But where there's surfing available, the real estate prices tend to go up a little bit. A lot of people also have kids, and they're asking about international schools. Tamarindo does have a national international school, and it's called CRIA, Costa Rica International Academy. It's got a 20-year anniversary. Student to teacher ratio is 10 to 1. You got dual accreditation in the US and Costa Rica, full-time certified teachers. You've got nationalities, 22 different nationalities, all kinds of good things. And there's lots of these international schools peppered throughout Costa Rica. So there's nothing better than having your kids that might be, and maybe you're thinking of moving there with your whole family, and you've got 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds. These schools go from basically from grade school all the way up to finishing high school. And most of them are private, so you're paying a few dollars for that, but it's not very expensive. Depends on the school, of course, but you do have some really good options for international schools for your kids. I'm going to talk a little bit about COVID and those other restrictions that I know a lot of you are interested in understanding. So I've traveled there myself personally 2 times in the last 4 to 5 months. Not only is it very enjoyable, and if you have a family, your family can enjoy it. If you got friends or your spouse can come down, you can really enjoy it. It's great. The weather there's 21 climates, microclimates in Costa Rica. So you can have rain in one spot, a lot of rain, and not as much rain. So the rain tends to be in the lower parts of Costa Rica. So if I look at this map here, it would be down south of San Jose. It tends to be warmer, more humid, Paco all the way down here. This is a more humid climate zone and hotter. One thing you'll find in any place in Costa Rica, if you're in the mountains, which is one of the most beautiful places you can see, overlooking the Pacific Ocean or even the Caribbean side, you tend to have a cooler, breezier area than when you're right near the beach on the water. So if you look at Santa Teresa, for example, that climate tends to be a little bit wetter than Tamarindo, but if you're up in the mountains and you got the breezy, beautiful breezes coming through, it's wonderful. And in the season between about November till about June, it's like picture perfect in all areas. There's a lot less rain. It's dry, almost bone dry in some areas. So you get this beautiful climate that is spectacular. I know we just had some new people join. If you don't mind, if you can just put yourselves on mute, that would be great. And if you've missed part of the presentation, it's being recorded, so Everybody that sends in their email, I'll make sure I send a recording of the presentation and then the deck that I've put together and any other resources and things you may need to help you make your decisions about Costa Rica. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this area here. So weather and health, cost of living. A lot of people ask what it costs. So housing is much, much lower than here in Canada. It's all in US dollars. Renting can be more expensive if you like a beautiful spot, but generally the cost of living is about the same as what you have in Canada. People ask about the food prices. If you go to a grocery store, the prices are about the same. And number two, but if you go to a market, and there's lots of markets with fresh fruit and other things, you'll find that the pricing is much better. So, for example, a pineapple that I bought in Costa Rica, a whole pineapple that I enjoyed, it was like candy, not sour at all, not that type of a taste. It's just like literally sweet candy, and very alkaline for those that are into health. Much better to eat ripe fruit than ones that are sprayed and then sent up to Canada that we have. So you've got a much better, vibrant, colored fruit and vegetables and that kind of thing in Costa Rica. I paid $2 for that. That was on the roadside. You can get them for $1 for a pineapple. So it gives you an idea. You can get those, mangoes for probably $5 for $1, that kind of thing on just the stands that they have beside the road. And a lot of people do that. They get a lot of their food that way. But to go to a grocery store, which is pretty well everywhere, you can do that shopping and get your meat and that kind of thing and bread. Okay, the other thing I want to mention, if you have any questions, I'll answer them at the end. I'll be finished at about 12:40, and I'll take 20 minutes, and you can just add your questions in the chat menu, and also on the chat menu, if you don't mind, if you want the information, just put your email in there so I can contact you and send you the information out. Okay, now let's get into COVID. So I traveled there twice, not 10 times, but twice during COVID. I've been there probably 20 times in the last 5 years. I've traveled and did marketing throughout the Caribbean, Florida, Bahamas, Belize, Mexico, many different areas of the Caribbean, and I did mostly marketing. So my background is in marketing, and I've done a lot of marketing for resorts. Some of them I did well in, some of them not so well in, depends on a lot of factors that go into that. But the reason I latched on to Costa Rica was one main reason, is that when you buy property there is peace of mind because you own the title to the property and it's registered with the registry in San Jose. A lot of the rules around real estate are exactly the same as the rules we have in Canada. For example, if you talk to a lawyer down there, and I'll give you some resources of lawyers and people you can connect with, that lawyer will help you if you want to lien a home. If you're investing in an investment property and you want to lien the home because you need to get it back, you can actually lien it from Ontario with the right setup. So those things are really beneficial for those that are interested in home ownership. Getting back to the COVID situation, I cannot predict what's going to happen in the world. I'm just going to say this as a disclaimer over the next 5 years. I don't even know what's going to happen in the next year. But I've noticed some observations, and those are the things I want to share with you. Number one, they have no vaccine passport, and I've talked to quite a few people. It doesn't look like they're going to put that in. Sorry, if you can mute yourself, whoever just jumped in there, that'd be great. Thank you. And if you have any questions, we can certainly answer them after the session, but thank you so much. The vaccine passport is not in play right now, and nobody's saying it's going to happen. There's no PCR test or any test required to get into the country. As of that happened later in July, if not early in August. The only thing that's mandatory is health insurance. And if you're vaccinated, you can get into the country without that health insurance requirement. But if you're not, you have to buy health insurance just to cover yourself from potentially getting COVID. What I did notice is San Jose is a bigger city, so they have more masking requirements and they're more regimented in managing that in San Jose. Tamarindo to a lesser degree, and then Santa Teresa almost non-existent, except if you're going to some of the bigger restaurants, you go in and they ask, they don't really ask. I never really wore a mask there, but having said that, there are some people will ask you to wear a mask. A lot of the hotels I went to and stayed in, I never had to wear a mask. In Santa Teresa, or for that matter, in Tamarindo, they're a little bit more particular about that. In San Jose, it's a bigger city of 12 million. My observations is, well, not just observations, I talked to somebody, and I'll just give you the straight story, and I can't make any predictions again, but I can tell you this, that in November 2020, I was looking at purchasing a hotel with a partner in Playa Tambor, and I met with the people we're going to buy from, and they said in November 2020, they turned off the lady that was on the TV all day long. They realized something was up. They couldn't survive living there in Costa Rica without opening up. So in November 2020, they just opened up and they just never shut down since. So there's been one lockdown. It went from March 2020 to November 2020. After that point in time, there has been no other lockdowns. There are some restrictions. There's some restrictions with regards to driving your car if you're not a tourist on certain days. I think they might have lifted that, but they're relatively minor compared to what we've experienced in Canada or Australia, which is really bad. So what my thinking is they can't survive as a country without opening up tourism. And so they can't survive as a country without the tourist areas being open and some of the other areas being open. The other thing that I noticed is a lot of people in Costa Rica have their own businesses. There's not a large number of corporations and government employees like you would have in Canada. So you're a lot more restricted in those organizations. I see less of that in Costa Rica and more of that in Canada. And I think that's partially to play. Some people ask me about the government. They're a socialist government. But I will say the following, most governments today have a left-leaning side to them. Not that that matters. It matters how they run their countries and so on and so forth. And in Costa Rica, there's a strong legal system. There's a strong health system. There's a strong education system. I also find in Costa Rica, the people are generally, they're not poor people. There's more people begging on the streets in Toronto than I would see begging down there. In fact, I really didn't see many at all. I'm just trying to remember even one person I saw looking for money and begging on the streets in Costa Rica. And the reason for this goes back to how Costa Rica was started by the Spaniards. Costa Rica became a country, it was settled by the Spaniards, and they didn't go back after basically pirating and taking everything they can from all the different various gold and the resources they could find and take it back and live in their villas in Spain. They actually bought land or got land. They produced crops. They became farmers, and they began to subsist in Costa Rica. In Mexico, the opposite happened. So not all of Mexico, but a big part of it, the Spaniards came, raped and pillaged, and then they would go back and live in their villas in Spain. They had no interest in staying there. Whereas in Costa Rica, they did. So you have a lot of people that own farms. When you own land and you grow your own crops, you tend to be an entrepreneur and look after yourself well. And that kind of economy has really provided Costa Rica a really solid base. And that's what I see there. I see a lot of happy people, and we'll talk about the blue zone in a minute, but just a great, great place to be. I would have no qualms with moving there and being part of that. It's not right for me. It's not the right time for me right now, but I was really seriously considering that in August if I was going to go through with the hotel that I was looking at buying down there with my partner. So peace of mind, investment diversification, what that really means is allowing your money to be in US funds, and because it's all in US funds. And I believe the US dollar will have a stronger chance than the Canadian dollar. And if you're investing in real estate just in Canada and things really fall apart, you've got other areas to have a plan B, I would call that, and that could be Costa Rica. You could also pick Florida or Mexico. I just prefer Costa Rica for the reasons above. We just had somebody join. If you don't mind just taking yourself and putting yourself on mute, that would be great. And you can always take yourself off when you have some questions a bit later. All right, so I want to talk about the blue zone. So not a lot of people understand what blue zones are, so I'll just quickly talk about that. The blue zone in Costa Rica is not everywhere. It's right in this area around Santa Teresa in southern Nicoya Peninsula. That's the blue zone there. And it is an area where people on average live 100 years of age or more, and there's about 5 of them. You can look it up under National Geographic. There's some other really good articles, but they're very healthy places to live and thrive in. And there's some very interesting findings they're finding from that. There's less stress. People are eating healthy. They're not eating pre-produced food. They're eating locally produced food, a lot of nutritious food and organic. And as you know, a big part of being healthy is eating healthy. A big part of healthy is being emotionally healthy. A big part of healthy is not having financial stress, which they have very little of that there. So these are all things that we've encountered that we're now questioning ourselves whether that was the right steps we needed to take as Canadians. But they've already done that in these areas of Costa Rica and other areas around the world, about 5 different areas, as I said, and are finding true happiness and a great place to live and a great vibration in those particular areas. So I will say that that the blue zone really enhances the life, and that's the whole bottom part of the southern Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica. So more on that. I can chat with you guys later about that. I want to tell you about the government. I kind of showed a little bit about the stability of the government. It's democratic. It's been there since 1952, but there's no military. You can lien a home from Ontario. You can lien a home from Costa Rica if you want. You get title home ownership, quality, affordable healthcare. Now there is a 2-tier system there. If you purchase a home or invest in it in a business and spend more than $150,000, you can become a temporary resident within about 3 months. What that affords you is free healthcare. Now there's a 2-tier system, so you get the basic healthcare, so basic stuff gets looked after. If you want better healthcare, then you can top it up and have the better healthcare if you can afford it and something you want. But if you want just the basic, you get that. It's an educated populace, low crime. I know that somebody just joined again. If you can just kindly just put yourself on mute, that'd be great. English-speaking lawyers and accountants. You can become a temporary resident with a home purchase and spend $150,000. So once you invest that amount of money, you can do that. You can also have that money tax-free. Once you take more than $150,000 and you reciprocate and bring that back to Canada, you have to start paying taxes on anything more than what you spent on the house in Costa Rica. So I can talk about that more with those that are interested in looking at purchasing something in Costa Rica. One of the things that's really beautiful is the wildlife, and I mean incredibly exotic wildlife. The stuff you see there, in fact, 6% of the world biodiversity is in Costa Rica. So imagine that. You can see so many different things. Take trips that are like 2 or 3 hour trips, like you go from Toronto to Ottawa, you can go right into the jungles of Costa Rica and see some incredible wildlife. It's really adventurous, but you can enjoy the cities as well. Like this is a picture I took of a place called Escazú in San Jose, shopping. So you have Crate and Barrel, Residence Inn, the IMAX theater there, some beautiful restaurants, very modern, contemporary. The nice thing about San Jose is it's right in the mountains and it's got a high elevation, kind of like Denver is in Colorado. So, you know, during much of the season, you're wearing a jacket there and you're 6 degrees above the equator. So it's a beautiful climate. It's not as warm as it is in some of the other areas near the Pacific. So you've got a nice climate there. Tends to be a bit more rainy, but beautiful climate there nonetheless. And this is just one of the shopping areas. So you can go from this to this in an hour drive. This not the hotel rather, but this hospital is in San Jose called SEMA. Costa Rica is known for medical tourism. Obviously, you have to pay for it. A lot of people understand this. They go to Mexico to get certain operations done because it's cheaper. They even go to the US to get operations done, where you can do the same thing. You can get things, you can get services, healthcare services in Costa Rica at a better price. And it's very high-end, well-trained medical and doctors that come from, a lot of them from the US. that they bring into Costa Rica, or they're trained in Costa Rica, but a great system for healthcare. All right, business in Costa Rica, excellent political and economic health. Is there increasing tourism, property values across the board? People ask me, are they going up as fast as they did in Canada? No, they're not. I would say 3 to 5% a year, something like that. Depends on the area. It's all about location, location, location. And so I'll tell you, the top locations in Costa Rica are the two areas that I'm focused on: Santa Teresa and Tamarindo. So if you want a premium, gorgeous premium home that's overlooking the ocean, it's 3,000 square foot, designed by the top architects, you're paying $2.5 million. But you can also buy a home in a Santa Teresa area for between 300 and 500,000. But a nice one that'd be comparable to Ontario, you can get them for 600, 700,000. Tamarindo is a bit less money, 300, 400, 500,000, in that range. You can't get much for under 300,000 in Tamarindo. So we've priced our prices on our VIP initial phase 1 at 289, which is a little bit better pricing. But those prices, and when we get to phase 3, are going to jump to the mid 300s once we sell most of those homes. Exports. So a lot of people think it's just tourism. There's a lot more than tourism there. So there's medical instruments, there's electronics, parts for computers, pharmaceuticals, there's financial outsourcing, software development. This is right out of Wikipedia. I know there's a lot of things nobody trusts anymore, but anyway, that is from Wikipedia, and it is true. There's a nice mixed economy in Costa Rica, which makes it, to me, a real growth opportunity for businesses. And I know a lot of you are entrepreneurs and looking for ways to make a living down there. It's a fabulous place to look at a business in Costa Rica, and I can put you in touch with a lawyer that can help you with some of the details on that. So I want to show you some of the flight times and drive times. So you can fly into San Jose or Liberia. In every one of those locations, there's about 10 to 14 flights to Tamarindo and 10 to 14 flights to Santa Teresa, or close to Santa Teresa, in a place called Playa Tambor, by Green Airways. It's 25-minute flight from San Jose to that area and a 15-minute flight from Liberia to Tamarindo. I probably don't recommend a flight in Liberia. I might recommend a flight to San Jose. You can fly from San Jose to Santa Teresa, rent a car right by the airport, budget rent a car, what, $750 a week, and it'll save you that trip. But some people like to see the country, so they will take the 4-hour and 58-minute drive, go across the toll, not the toll, but the ferries, and drive along the coast, along the southern Nicoya Peninsula, and get a feel for Costa Rica. There's lots of good choices. Getting around is not difficult. You can do that. Getting around with a car, for the most part, on paved roads. When you get your Santa Teresa, it tends to be a little bit more gravelly. I went from all the way from Santa Teresa all the way up to Tamarindo on the back way along the Pacific. Beautiful, beautiful area, but I'm telling you, it was all gravel for most of the ride until I got to Guanacaste province. It was about a 3-hour drive. At most times I was driving 40 kilometers an hour. There was times I was driving alongside a river. I wasn't sure where the road went. I remember seeing cattle and cows in front of you. Some guys had to move them out of the way. So it's interesting. There's all kinds of varieties, but for the most part, when you're driving to the main areas, it's all paved roads. Yeah, just to give you an idea of the number of people coming into the southern Nicoya Peninsula. There's a ferry service. There's 1.2 million passengers on that. So it's a lot of people going from, you know, that side to the other side. Regional air, there's 360,000 passengers going, using regional airlines going from San Jose to southern Nicoya Peninsula. And you have about 1.7 million tourists per year going into Tamarindo on various ways. So you've got about a 1.2, 1.5. They're both quite popular. They're just both very different. And planning a trip later in November, somewhere between November 15th and 25th. It's a trip where you individually purchase your tickets. but we help with everything from finding a nice hotel to stay in. And we'll meet 2 times during that period for some fun. We'll get together and have dinner. We'll meet at one of the hotels, and I'll introduce you to some of the lawyers and other people that are interested in getting on the ground in Costa Rica and meeting people. So I'm planning that between November 15th and 25th. It'll be basically a 2 to 3 day event. And then the rest of the time you can stay in Costa Rica and travel around and visit. So I just find it a really helpful way to introduce people to buying a home, looking at different areas and finding out where they might want to be. And I've got great support on the ground there in Costa Rica. So you get to meet lots of people and enjoy that. Part of what I wanted to chat with you is about fire and safety. There is fire trucks like you have here, and there is emergency support. There is lifeguards, there is emergency vehicles. If you have a heart attack and you're not close to a hospital and you need to go to a hospital, they have helicopters that pick you up out of a soccer field. You call the urgent medical care group, and if you have something pretty major, they'll fly you from, say, Playa Tambor or Santa Teresa right to a major hospital in San Jose. So there's really good support that way. There's regional airways. They're $80 one way on average. For example, going to Playa Tambor or Santa Teresa area, 14 passengers would fit on this, and there's 14 flights a day, and you get them right at San Jose, the domestic airport. So lots of this flying around, getting around to the smaller airports. There's ferries as well. That's the ferry. I just took this on my last trip. Took it across from the southern Nicoya Peninsula back to Punta Neras and back to San Jose. Beautiful. There's 2 of these going back and forth, and they're about $16 or so to use that. And then there's the local international buses that they have. You can go right out of Costa Rica, taking a bus if you don't feel like flying. And it's $100 one way to get around in different spots. It could be $80, could be less than that. It depends. So make a long story short, there's lots of transportation outside of just renting a car. But you can do that. I found it very handy, $750 per week on average. That's the actual budget rent-a-car right near the airport at Playa Tambor, near Santa Teresa. Okay, so I'm almost done. This is some of the management group. Tim, Marlon is rentals and sales in San Jose, great realtor. He's working with Sociable Living as a partner that I know very well, named Roman. And he can help you with a lot of stuff in that location, and we're partnering together with him. Julian Javier has just joined recently the team at Nakori, and he's going to be doing home buyer support, a lot of the administrative tasks that are associated with what we're trying to achieve in Costa Rica. So we've got some really good hands-on people that I'm sharing with you. And Haiti, which is working with us on some other hotel deals in there, and she's in Santa Teresa area. She's originally from California. So all of these people speak both. Well, I know that Marlon speaks Spanish, and I know Haiti speaks Spanish. I'm not positive about Julian, but he's from Canada, and I'm from Toronto. And we have other partners that help at various times. And but these are the hands-on people that will help you with this particular webinar and some follow-up materials. So you get all that. And I have all their names and everything else that I can send out to you. If you put your email in the chat menu, I'll be able to capture that. Okay, so a couple options that we're looking at. Remember, we talked about visiting or doing a long-term rental or doing a new home purchase. So visiting, if you go to San Jose, you can get a place there for $150 a night. You get a beautiful condo as part of Sociable Living. They have about 10 or 12. They're looking at growing that to about 22 condos that are kind of Airbnb-able. Right in Santa Ana, beautiful area. Tamarindo, you're staying in a hotel room. I don't have anything there really from a long-term rental standpoint yet, but I can, as we get more involved, we'll be able to source that for you. But that's around $250. These are all US, by the way. Hotel room. Santa Teresa is $120 a night in a villa in a place that I just made an agreement with. Great options there. It's called Vista de Olas. and they have 5 different promotions that I'll send out in the email for those that are interested in. Those promotions are available from now right through till December 20th for those that are interested in visiting various parts of Costa Rica. I've got a really good plan for you, okay? And we have the right people we'll connect you with and cover some of those details with. Now, long-term rentals is like a month, 3 months or more. Say you might want to rent for a season, you don't want to purchase yet, you want to look at some stuff. I do have some availability in San Jose, looking at $2,500 a month. You can get some cheaper places, but I know you generally want a decent looking place. You can get stuff for as low as $1,500, $1,400, but it's smaller. Santa Teresa, a little bit cheaper. If you want a really good place, you can rent beautiful homes there, but they're in the, almost $3,000 a month. You can get some stuff at $1,900 a month. And those are some of the sizes there, 800 square feet, which is a good size for Costa Rica. Their little homes tend to be a little smaller than we have in Toronto. If you want to do a new home purchase, I have 2 places. One is $289 USD. How we do that new home purchase is you put down a 10% deposit here in Canada. It's fully refundable on visit to Costa Rica. You can lock up your floor plan and the location and the lot and all that here while you're in Costa Rica, in Canada. And then you visit down there. And if you don't like the location, if you don't like the home, it's 100% refundable. Other than that, you come down, you do a visit with us, and you do a tour. We show you around. And at the end of that tour, you can convert that deposit into a contract. So 10% of that would be $28,900 US, fully refundable, and then that goes in, and then you can determine what you want to do that. We also have in the Santa Teresa area, more specifically the Playa Tambor, right near the airport there. We have condos that are new home condos that are available at $189 USD right now, and they're 700 square feet. They're beautiful. They're not too far from the beach. The Tamarindo location is 7-minute drive from the beach, but on the main road coming in through Tamarindo. Santa Teresa is in a beach. They're both gated communities. The 189 is a condominium. It's only 2 stories. I can give you a lot more detail on that. And that's at 189 UK USD. And the deposit on that is 18.9 for that deposit, which is again the same process, refundable on visit. So we've got some options for you there. I just want to give you some pricing and some ideas of where you can be. I know some of you guys are looking at different areas. I had somebody talk to once, Ocal. We can certainly look at that and help you with that. I've got a full resource list of people. Insurance, new home purchases, existing home purchase, all the people, their emails, names, and everything else that I can send out to you as part of this deck. Again, if you're interested, just put your information in the chat menu. I'm working on another project. It's called the Ocean Villas. It's in the Playa Tambor area. We're raising capital for that. It's not for sale yet, but they're going to be right on the beach, ocean facing. If you're interested in getting a really nice package if you're interested in putting some financial dollars in there, like $50,000, $100,000 or more. I'm raising money for that to build a brand new development right on the beach in near Santa Teresa. And they're going to be selling for between $450,000 to $550,000 right on the beach there. So enough of that. I've got some Q&A, so I'm going to look at the chat menu and just go through some of the, there's some good questions in here. Okay, so I see your emails and all that. That's good. I'm recording this for those that are wondering, and I'll send you a link to the recording. Okay, okay, the emails are all there. Okay, let me just see if there's any questions that you have. Okay, you can certainly post those now. Okay, the Wi-Fi, question about the Wi-Fi. Okay, really good question. So I'm a bit of a techie. I had 3 startup companies that I started up and enjoy technology. I'm not doing that as much anymore. I'm doing some of that, but I understand Wi-Fi. So everywhere in Costa Rica, even the jungle, going anywhere you want, you got Wi-Fi on your phone. Okay, so what that means is it's 3G. If you go to a larger center like Santa Teresa, San Jose, it's 4G. And I know in San Jose they have fiber. I know in Santa Teresa they have fiber, and I know they have fiber in Tamarindo, and they have 4G in Tamarindo as well. Tamarindo is quite an interesting spot to the north. That's all 4G and all high, really good Wi-Fi. But there's rural areas that you got to use satellite or some other things to get your Wi-Fi to work. So that would be more like Playa Tambor area and some of the more rural areas. It's a little trickier getting in there. The condo fees, yeah, this is a good question on condo fees and the gated community. So condo fees range from about $120, $140 a month to like $210 a month. They're not very expensive, and that's even on the high side, $210. Taxes range from like $480 a year to $700 a year. So you compare that to Florida, you're paying for a house down there all day long, double what you're paying as a resident of Florida. So if you're a resident of Florida, you're paying $7,000, $8,000 a month, a year, and annually you double that. So you're looking at $12,000, $14,000 a year US in Florida versus Costa Rica, which I consider a much better place to be. And you're looking at $480, $800, something in there. It's under $1,000 a year for taxes. Okay, what else on the condo fees? Yeah, so gated communities and really good setup in the, like all those gated communities, beautiful, beautiful stuff. Like in one in Tamarindo, we're looking at putting a co-op work area in there, a yoga studio, workout area outside, and there's gonna be a pool and some really nice amenities for those that are in that particular Tamarindo area. They can do that. Okay, and traveling from Canada direct available. Yes, it is in season. Right now, there isn't any direct flights available. So I was planning on going down in September, like literally tomorrow or the day after, and had to cancel because unfortunately my father passed away and I needed to be home. So, but I did book a flight, and it was like, if you book it well in advance, like 2 or 3 weeks, it's about $600-700 return. And there's some crazy, it could be some crazy hours. So like things like 22 hours if you book it last minute, it's pretty booked up. So, but you can get 7-8 hour, even a connecting flight, and be there in San Jose in 7-8 hours. To avoid test required US traveling through there. Yeah, you can, another question is you can avoid the test by going to El Salvador, or Panama, and there's flights with Copa going there, so you can get your flights without having to worry about the testing. For those that are asking that question, there's a couple of other people that just joined. If you don't mind just putting yourself on mute, that would be great. Home starting at $289 USD, was wondering about bedroom options. Yeah, that would be, we can give you the details of that, Stephanie, who sent that through. If you just make sure your email's through, we'll get you all set up with that. There's 2 and 3 bedroom options. And there's a 3-bedroom, yes, there is a 3-bedroom for your family there. And those are about almost 1,400 square feet. School education option for children, yes, lots of good options there. And I've got a team of people that can help you, and specifically people that are engaged on the school education side. So Natasha Volishna, looks like you're Ukrainian like I am. It's good to see you and talk to you. If you can just make sure you supply your email and this chat menu, and I'll get that back to you. Girl on fire, maybe a question for lawyers. What are the income tax laws about working in the country? Okay, I know a little bit about that. I don't want to give you too much because I'll scare you, but the tax laws are a little bit better than they are in Canada. They have a very good legal system, a good accounting system, and obviously that's what makes it a good country. And they don't like corruption, and they're clamping down on any corruption. If you're putting money into Costa Rica, they want to know the bank account that it actually came from. They want to see the slip. I know that's happening in a lot of places, so they don't want that happening. But I have some lawyers that you can specifically ask that about, but the effective tax rate would be less than, in a corporation, is less than 5%. It can be as high as 12, 13%. They're a little bit more lenient on writing things off there. So that was that question. Okay, great, thank you. Emails in the chat. Let's see what else you have. How do you obtain residency? So good question there. In terms of residency, when you purchase a home, say you purchase in Tamarindo with us and you purchase a home there and you buy it for $289, you buy your home, and even before you take full residence, as long as you have the address and the information and utility information, you send in your utility like you would your Bell bill, and they know that you have your home at this address, and they'll start processing with a lawyer the application for temporary residence. So you can definitely do that. It's really helpful. It's really great. I got great lawyers. Christian Diaz is one specific one that's based in San Jose, speaks perfect English. He's got a family down right now that left from Vancouver because of COVID in Canada, moved their whole family within 2 weeks, sold their home, sold their furniture, and never been to Costa Rica in their lives before, and moved there as of September 8th. So he's working with them. I told him to take them on a tour. He's taking them on a tour of San Jose. They're going to go down to Santa Teresa and then Tamarindo. So they're just kind of looking around at different areas to kind of feel out where they want to buy. But they also want to buy a business. They're international, as an international company, wants to buy a business in Costa Rica. So he's working with a lawyer that I trust and recommend to help you with that. Okay, can you send, would be looking for a family home, 3 children. I will. I'll send that information out. Can you open bank account as temporary resident? Oh yeah, okay. So there's a Scotia Bank down there. You can set up with Scotia Bank, but there's other banks that are not associated with Canada that are really good banks. They're international. You can set up a corporation. Most people do think they set up a corporation, which we can help you with a lawyer. It's not that expensive. You set up a corporation, you put shareholders in that corporation, and the corporation tends to buy the house. It's just a protection for you. And then you take the corporation papers to the bank and you set up a bank account and say Cobano or Tamarindo or Santa Teresa, wherever, but Cobano is a pretty big center near Santa Teresa. That's where most people do that. And the bank and my lawyer that I work with down in Cobano would be happy even to take his assistant to help you set up the bank account and get all that going. So pretty good setup there. Temporary resident means, that's a good question. I don't want to misrepresent that, but it gives you all the privileges that Costa Ricans have with permanent residency, except it's temporary. So that includes the healthcare and other things. There are some limitations, and I don't have them on the top of my head, but you can definitely talk to, I can maybe send out an FAQ with some of those answers on the website once it's set up, and I'll put that on there. Do you ever anticipate expanding to the Caribbean side, Cojuda, Puerto Vallejo? Not right now. I'm too busy with Costa Rica, and I know a lot about it. I feel safe. I feel safe recommending people to go there. So at this point, no. What about permanent residency and citizen? Yeah, so after 3 years, you can apply to become a permanent resident. And you can maintain that with Canada too, I believe so. So that's that question. Which banks in Sierra would you suggest to use for Canadian? Well, there's Scotia Bank and there's Banco Nacional are the two. My sister's college up and left, answer to Costa Rica, nothing but good things. Okay, so good. This work is online, so it worked well. So, yeah, oh yeah, another cool thing is they have, if you want to work online there, they have a lot of what they call digital nomads. Digital nomads are, I'm almost done, by the way, guys. I know it's almost 1 o'clock. I might run over 5 minutes because I started at 12:05, so might run over a bit. But they have this thing called digital nomads, which are people from all over the world that work, for example, in Santa Teresa. There's co-op workplaces you work out of for $10 a day, very high-speed internet, beautiful offices. I worked out of them when I was down there, and they're called Selina, S-E-L-I-N-A. They're all throughout South America, and they're a hot little company that are got these vibey little workspaces that you can work out of. So transitioning from here to there is nothing. Like, I don't even tell people I'm there when I'm working there. And there's right now a 2-hour difference between Costa Rica and Toronto. Okay. What are the languages? See how most people do speak English. It doesn't hurt to speak Spanish. I'm at the age right now, but I'm not sure I want to learn Spanish, all of it. But if I'm down there permanently, I'll pick it up because everybody speaks that. But a lot